Despite being young and coming off his best professional season, Ravens inside linebacker Patrick Queen's days are numbered in the purple and black. The Ravens will not pick up his fifth-year option for 2024. That's the rookie contract option for first-rounders. Queen went to the Ravens at 28th overall in 2020. He is still under contract with the Ravens for this upcoming season, but this is now a contract season, or the Ravens could get something before losing him to free agency via trade. Queen had career highs for tackles, sacks, and interceptions for his third season, but the writing has been on the wall since the Ravens gave an historic inside linebacker contract for Roquan Smith. Money will always be tight now with Lamar Jackson's extension, and drafting Clemson's Trenton Simpson in the third round was the final clue. Queen is gone after 2023. Despite general manager Eric DeCosta not answering that question for weeks and being a fan of Queen.
We love Patrick. I love Patrick. Patrick is, in my mind, one of the better will linebackers in the league. He's smart. He works his butt off. He's got a bright future. I think he's a Pro Bowl linebacker in the making. And so, in Trenton, we get a guy that was honestly, the very best player available at the time.
It's a short list of first-round players drafted by the Ravens to not see a fifth season with them, whether that's trades or cuts. Receiver Marquise Brown and tight end Hayden Hurst, they were both traded. 2015's first-round Brashad Bateman cut after 3 years. Safety Matt Elam's fifth-year option also not picked up. And defensive back Dwayne Starks was gone to Arizona after 4 seasons. The Ravens will hold rookie minicamp this weekend. They will speak to the media on Saturday. But unlike years past, we cannot watch practice and grab our own video. Okay?
Oh, can't wait to hear about this, Morgan. Thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis taking aim again at Disney, the latest lawsuit in their ongoing battle. A 10-year-old North Carolina child brings attention to mental health among children, calling for behavioral health services in schools.
New details on city police bringing down a fentanyl drug trafficking group, how they cracked the case, and why officials are hesitant to label the group a gang. Crime concerns in Baltimore County leaving many concerned about safety. We sat down with the new police chief on his plans to reduce crime and help ease those concerns.
Thank you, Marylanders. Thank you for giving me the opportunity in my life.
Maryland Senator Ben Cardin deciding not to seek re-election in 2024. Moments ago, he shared why now is the time to pass the torch to someone else.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Thanks for staying with us tonight. We are continuing to follow a city council meeting where Councilman Yitzi Schleifer is proposing a bill to make it easier for you to track how the city spends your taxpayer dollars. That hearing just wrapped up in the past 20 minutes. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost was there listening in and is now efforting interviews with those involved. She will have a full report tonight on the news at 10. Now, Mackenzie has been investigating how nonprofits are spending taxpayer dollars, particularly when it comes to the Safe Streets program. In her investigation, Mackenzie found it has been difficult to track how each of the 10 Safe Streets locations spends the money approved by the city. The bill being proposed today from Councilman Schleifer aims to bring more transparency to that process for all nonprofits. The councilman says he wants the public to easily track how elected leaders are spending their money.
Knowing who the executive directors are, knowing who the board members are, knowing who the employees are of these organizations is very critical when it's taxpayer money going towards funding those organizations.
Again, we will have complete coverage of the bill's future right here at 10 and on foxbaltimore.com. Well, tonight, a dent in the city's ongoing crime crisis. Police and prosecutors detailed the takedown of a drug trafficking group in southwest Baltimore. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell with how officials say citizens helped dismantle the crime ring.
5 people are named in this indictment. Investigators say 4 are in custody, but they're still searching for the 5th, identified as Kenneth Davis, who remains at large.
A fentanyl drug trafficking operation set up in southwest Baltimore's Shipley Hill neighborhood dismantled. Investigators announcing the takedown after a 3-month-long investigation that began at the beginning of this year and has resulted in indictments against these 5 individuals.
Of these 5, 4 of them have previous arrest records that include assault, drug distribution, and even attempted murder.
Investigators say citizen complaints prompted the investigation and surveillance, undercover buys from at least 3 of the defendants, and the execution of search warrants led to the seizure of a ½ kilogram of fentanyl, 2 guns, and packaging materials used for street-level distribution.
They not only were in drug trafficking of fentanyl, which is extremely dangerous, but also tied to violence.
Like others, the drug operation coming with guns, violence, and a marked territory, all characteristics of a gang, but the city hesitant or even refusing to call them that.
But are neighborhood gangs a problem in Baltimore?
Well, neighborhood gangs they're not the gangs in the traditional sense. They're loosely organized, and they don't have a hierarchy structure as in traditional gangs that you might see portrayed on TV. But they are an issue because some of them are tied to violence, and they are tied to drug trafficking, which is also tied to violence. And so it's all connected.
The commissioner questioned on what he needs to get the drugs and neighborhood gangs out of Baltimore.
We need consequences to make sure we can deter people from making bad criminal decisions. But we also need to help people change their life conditions so that they don't have to do it in the very first place. Both of those are happening right now.
The commissioner then speaking to the mayor's group violence reduction strategy. This takedown, part of that initiative. Anyone with any information regarding Davis's whereabouts is asked to call police. Reporting outside police headquarters, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
He was shot multiple times to the upper body. Medic responded and pronounced the victim deceased.
Baltimore County Police have another homicide investigation on their hands. Yesterday, police say a 28-year-old man from Cockeysville was shot and killed. He's been identified as Samuel Bodkin and is the 7th person killed in the county this year. Police haven't released many other details. Just last week, a 17-year-old was killed in Overly. Residents at the time telling Fox 45 News it's frightening to be so close to this gun violence.
It's just crazy the amount of gun violence that is happening to broader. I mean, whether it's to here, to Perry Hall, you never know when it's going to stop.
It's really frightening. It's scary because you don't expect that.
Both homicides remain unsolved. Well, the newly sworn-in Baltimore County Police Chief sitting down with Fox 45's Vincent Hill today to talk about the current crime concerns in the county that have many residents feeling after several shootings and other violent crimes. Vincent, tell us more about what the chief had to say.
Yeah, Mary, we just saw at Fox 45 talk to countless Baltimore County residents who say the county's crime is starting to look a lot like the city. Now, many people actually moved to the county thinking they would be safe. I asked the chief about that, and here's what he had to say.
What do you say to the citizens of Baltimore County? A lot of that moved from the city to the county to feel safer, but now they're at a point where they say they don't feel safe. So what do you say to those citizens that are saying, hey, I don't feel safe in the county?
Well, as a parent, I clearly understand what they're saying, but I also would reassure them as their chief is that we're doing everything to make Baltimore County a safe place to live and to work and for our children to go to school.
Vincent, there were 2 deadly shootings in the county in a week. We just reported on it. What did the chief have to say about gun violence in particular?
Yeah, Mary, although he believes those 2 shootings were targeted, he does acknowledge there is a gun problem. Now, coming up tonight at 10, what his plan is to get those guns off the street. Mary?
Vincent, thank you. Some new information in the story first reported by Fox 45 News. A second-degree assault charge against Delegate Kaylin Young has been dropped. The charge was originally filed in relation to an altercation shortly before Election Day this past November. Young, who represents Baltimore City, had maintained his innocence the entire time. The person who filed the charges against the first-term delegate did not show up in court, so the city state's attorney's office moved to drop the charges today. An Anne Arundel County teacher has been charged with sexually abusing a high school student back in January. 43-year-old Manuel Navarro Montero was accused by a female student of touching her inappropriately at Meade High School. Police say they were notified about the alleged sex offense back on January 26. He was removed from the school shortly after they were notified of these allegations, and he has now been charged with multiple sex offenses and assault. In Falston, a man has been sentenced for distributing child pornography. 54-year-old Robert Wyatt Jr. has been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison, followed by a lifetime of supervised release. Police found more than 1,000 images and 100 videos across Wyatt's devices. The judge ordering that upon his release, he must register as a sex offender. Wyatt had a previous federal conviction for possessing child pornography.
Developing right now, Maryland Senator Ben Cardin has announced that he is not seeking re-election in 2024. His retirement now likely setting up for a competitive Democratic primary fight in the state. Cardin was first elected to the Senate back in 2006. Before that time, he represented Maryland's 3rd congressional district for nearly 2 decades. After getting his start in the House of Delegates back in 1967, he quickly rose to become the youngest state House Speaker. Moments ago, Cardin, at an event celebrating federal funds for an historic black church, shared why he's leaving the political arena.
I've been married for will be 60 years next year. It's time to spend a little more time on having control over my own calendar. And then secondly, it's an 8-year decision. And I want to make the decision when I can make that decision.
Well, Cardin says he still plans to get a lot done in his next 2 years. That includes focusing on helping Baltimore City take care of the Chesapeake Bay and creating a new mental health legislation. Mary?
Kai, thank you. Some new developments in the race to raise the debt limit before a U.S. default. Shortly after the Treasury Secretary warned June 1st is the deadline, President Biden called House and Senate leadership, inviting all 4 members to the White House for a meeting on May 9th. The House has passed a bill with significant spending cuts and a cap in raising federal spending, but that is all but dead on arrival in the Senate, and the president had pledged a veto. There is now just under a month to come up with a resolution. A traffic alert for anybody heading out tonight and tomorrow at 7. A lane will close on eastbound I-70 to repair joints on the bridge spanning the Patapsco River at the Baltimore County-Howard County line. The road should be fully open by 5 a.m., but you never know. Using US 40 and toward Baltimore City is recommended as an alternate route to give crews some more space. Well, the writer accusing former President Trump of rape takes the stand, the latest on the case, and why she says she never reported the attack.
The nation's largest LGBTQ+ advocacy group has some demands for Bud Light. I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington with what they're asking for. Straight ahead.
And some clouds this evening if you're going to be taking a walk after maybe a little bit of cabin fever this afternoon with the showers around. Well, the showers are going to stick around through about sunset. Then they diminish, but it's cool with 40s to around 50. I'm going to let you know how long we stay in this stagnant, gloomy pattern in my Weather Authority forecast.
Incredible video coming in from our sister station in central Illinois. Mangled wreckage of a deadly pileup on Interstate 55. At a briefing, police just confirmed at least 6 people have died in crashes believed to have been caused by swirling dirt and dust kicked up by strong winds. You can still see the effects of that dust storm. Somewhere between 40 and 60 vehicles, including many big rigs, piled up against each other as drivers were blinded by the dirt about 15 miles south of the capital, Springfield. We are expecting updates tonight and we'll pass them along to you. Well, making headlines tonight, the Biden administration announcing its plan to end most remaining federal COVID-19 vaccine requirements by next week. Requirements for federal workers and contractors will end May 11th, the same day as when the national public health emergency for COVID ends. That has a big impact here in Maryland, home to the largest concentration of federal workers. The process of lifting shot requirements for teachers, healthcare workers, and non-citizens at the U.S. border could also begin soon. Writer E. Jean Carroll, who says former President Donald Trump raped her in a department store in the 90s, acknowledged today during cross-examination that she never followed her own advice to readers to report sexual attacks. Carroll telling the jury that being born in 1943, she was a member of the silent generation and taught not to complain. The judge denied a Trump defense motion to dismiss the case right before testimony resumed. Attorneys for Montana State Representative Zoe Zephyr filing a lawsuit over Zephyr's removal from the House floor. Zephyr, a transgender Democrat, said in a statement that she was targeted for giving a voice to the needs of the trans community. She's also requesting a temporary restraining order against Montana's House Speaker and State House Sergeant at Arms. Bud Light sales continue to trend downward after a month of announcing a partnership with a trans activist and social media star. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins has more from Washington with the lasting impact.
The controversy surrounding Bud Light remaining heavy following intense conservative backlash.
Let me say something to all you.
For the polarizing March Madness partnership with trans activist Dylan Mulvaney.
I got some Bud Lights for us.
The Human Rights Campaign, the nation's largest LGBTQ+ civil rights group, penning a letter to Bud Light parent company Anheuser-Busch. The Hill reporting the letter asks for renewed support of the trans community, reading in part, quote, when faced with anti-LGBTQ+ and transphobic criticism, Anheuser-Busch's actions demonstrate a profound lack of fortitude in upholding its values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. In response to the backlash, Bud Light placed 2 executives on leave, released a patriotic ad,
rooted in the heart of America.
And Anheuser-Busch's CEO releasing a statement saying they never intended to be a part of a discussion that divides. Former Anheuser-Busch president Anson Frericks telling Fox Business it's still making headlines and losing profits because the company has an accountability problem.
Anheuser-Busch has forgotten who it is accountable to, and it's accountable to its shareholders. We're a month into this controversy, and the reason that we're still into this and still talking about it is Anheuser-Busch has not been clear about what Bud Light stands for. Traditionally, it's been an apolitical brand that did not get into politics.
The latest data released Monday shows Bud Light sales continuing to spiral downwards, dipping 21% lower than this time last year, according to Bump Williams Consulting. Sales for competitors, Coors Light and Miller Lite, both up more than 20%.
Anheuser-Busch stocks remain down slightly since the controversy began, but they are still the world's largest beer company. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
All right, our Fox Triplecast this afternoon, this evening, looking fantastic. If you like some dramatic skies, we'll say, on the Toyota East Harbor Skycam. And it looks like we've taken a trip down to D.C. to take a look at the Capitol building, also with some clouds and a little bit of sunshine trying to glint through there as well. That's all courtesy of our latest weather maker. You can see there on our HD radar some spot showers that are around. And here in Baltimore, all the way back to about Essex and Edgewood, Bel Air, you've got a few of those. I guess they're kind of light showers, barely even wetting the roads, but you could have some spatters on the windshield that you may have to deal with, so make sure you've got some clean wipers. Then things get a little more serious as you take a look out to the west. How about this? These pink colors as well as these purples, those are winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories over western Maryland all the way back down into eastern mountainous Virginia, or I should say West Virginia. And this is where we could see 6 to 12 plus inches of snow out of this as it all banks up on the mountains. Of course, they're 2,000–3,000 feet up. That's not going to be the case here, but chilly showers, even some snow on the back end of this thing. This is just on the doorstep. This is why we had some of the showers today. And it looks like as we see these spokes of energy denoted by some of these yellow lines coming through over the next several days, this storm system just kind of perches in place off to our north. It's what gave us the rain this weekend. Well, it's now kind of diminishing, but it's not moving. And unfortunately for us, if you don't like rain, we're going to have some of that. Plus, again, if you're going to head west, there could be 12 plus inches of snow in places in West Virginia. So there's a cold system here. Around here should be about 70 this time of year. We only made it to 62, and we're 60 now with the clouds on the Toyota East Harbor Skycam. Good gusty breeze, too, gusting up to about 30 miles an hour at times, sustained about 15–25. That's going to be a factor the next couple of days as well. Kind of a chilly feel. Those temperatures 55 to 60 or so. Out in Oakland, where the snow is in the forecast, they're at 37 near Wisp Ski Resort. Future scan says overnight by about 10:45, most of the more widespread showers end, but there still could be a stray shower overnight as we fall to the mid to upper 40s. Tomorrow, here we go again. High temperatures in the 50s to around 60. Scattered showers during the afternoon, especially dies down to some spot showers overnight. And here we go again on Wednesday. Umbrellas back out with some of those midday and afternoon showers. Highs maybe only in the 50s by then. So 44 unsettled tonight. Few showers, scattered showers around for tomorrow, especially in the afternoon. Breezy, gloomy, high 61. I'm going to let you know how long we hold on to this kind of ugly pattern and when we're going to break out into sunshine near 80. That's my exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Up to 6 inches of rainfall and powerful winds in parts of Maine led to flooding, along with downed trees and power lines. Storms that rolled through the Carolinas on Sunday brought heavy rain, wind, and hail along I-95. Green Bay today saw its first accumulating snow in the month of May in 13 years. And here's a great shot of a meteor streaking through Alabama's early morning sky.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Twitter.
A 10-year-old girl with big goals of shining a light on mental health among kids. Taylor Thompson from our Sinclair sister station in North Carolina has the story.
Gracie Parker, a fourth grader who's been through a lot in just 10 short years, says she's speaking out for the other kids who feel like they don't have a voice. Her message is simple. Elementary schools need trauma counselors.
What do we want? Trauma counselors!
In just 10 short years, Gracie Parker has experienced her own fair share of trauma. When she was just a baby, she lost her mom due to drugs, and her dad has been in and out of jail her entire life. For a long time, Gracie felt helpless.
Now I realize that I'm not alone, and that's what inspires me. And talking with my friends, who I realize they also have problems. This is the first annual Youth Mental Health Rally here in Franklin.
That's when Gracie knew she needed to speak out about the mental health issues kids deal with.